Hello, friends, and welcome back to Paneling, the show where we copy other artists and try to learn something in the process. So last time, we've been learning, right, with this Doflamingo drawing, and we haven't learned everything yet. I'm still not 100% happy with what's going on, but I am liking it more than I did last week. So the first thing I'm going to do is shade try to get the blacks in on the around the mouth and nose and the chin here. Oda's kind of it's a challenging style to ape, I'm learning. Heavily stylized. A lot of people think, I don't know if this is the prevailing opinion of Oda anymore. There's definitely a period of time that I experienced where it's almost like people didn't take him seriously. Like he was too goofy, and there's a healthy dose of it's not even comedy, really. I mean, that's part of it, but it's really just an extreme stylization in the way that he draws, and I have grown to really love it. If it's an acquired taste, then it's a taste that I have definitely acquired. But One Piece is massively popular. So there's a raw appeal there as well. There's something here. This vein. I like how long the yolk is, and mine wasn't that long. So I'm going to see if I can lengthen mine up a little bit. Talk about stylization, right? And I've mentioned before, I think, but in case I haven't, I'll mention it now, and if I have, then I'll mention it again because it's important. Well, when I was first starting to learn how to draw, a lot of people recommended to me that I start to study anatomy drawing, which is something that I was not interested in at the time. I love anatomy drawing now. I think it's fun to kind of learn the mechanics of how bodies work and put them on the page. But my reasoning being was I only want to draw cartoon, hyper stylized stuff, so I don't need to learn real anatomy because what's the point? And the point is that in order to break the rules, you need to know what the rules are. That's really the short version. But in the case of Oda, looking at Doflamingo's face and looking at all the ways the forehead muscles and the veins and the lines of the face work together to create this really sinister affect, this really cool hyper stylized design. These are all actual working parts of the anatomy that the artist has taken and employed to achieve a very specific, highly stylized effect that could not have been achieved if Oda didn't have the understanding of anatomy that he does. So if you have an artist like Oda, who oftentimes disregards the anatomical rules, it's oftentimes because he has an intrinsic understanding of it, and so can use what his knowledge of the body, his knowledge of the way that the muscles and etc. interact to create these hyperstylizations in a way that comes across extremely effectively. So that's why you want to study anatomy, even if you only want to draw silly cartoon characters. So my primary problem with the face is it doesn't look like the one it doesn't look exactly like Otis, but I'm gonna say it's got the spirit, and I'm gonna move on. I've read quite a bit more One Piece since the last recording session. I'm gonna do my best to not talk One Piece spoilers, though. If you're like me and you're late to the party, if there's anybody out there who hasn't read One Piece, and is maybe considering it but is concerned about the length, or I say just go for it, honestly. Either get it from the library, because a lot of libraries have pretty good manga selection now. Or, let's see, that's too big. Or you can get a Shonen Jump subscription for like $3 a month. I think it used to be $2, but 3 is still not bad. And they put limits on you on how much you can read every day, but it's an insane limit. It's like 100 chapters a day, which is like 10 volumes. So I have never hit the limit, and I read a lot, so. I just want to make the glasses a little bit bigger, just because in Oda's drawing they do take up a little bit more space on the face. The thing that I always have some difficulty with, whenever I draw glasses, and a lot of times when I draw eyes, I want to have them coming off the sides of the face for some reason. Especially with glasses, but I do draw things with large eyes. It's just what I do. The important thing there is, maintaining the intentionality, right? Because there's a lot you can do with oversized features to hit some, good notes of stylization and carrying big emotions in a low detail environment. By the same token, you got to make sure that what you're doing is deliberate, not accidental. My rule of thumb basically is I shouldn't have to explain to somebody that I did something on purpose. They should just know. Good example, early on in Marukiru, I got Matt Garvey to give me like a video crit of the first couple of chapters of Marukiru. And I don't know if he still does that indie comic critique video series, but it was very good. I hope he still does it. I should check to see. But he's got a YouTube channel that's really solid, especially if you're looking to get into to doing comics. But he did a crit of Marukiru several years back, and there's one panel where he mentioned something about it was colored in lower detail than the panels around it, and he said he couldn't tell if it was intentional or not, and that it looked like it had been left unfinished. And it was intentional. I had intentionally wanted to do that panel in like a lower detail, because I thought it had like impact of like getting sandbagged, like draining the emotion out of the situation. That was my intention, and it didn't carry. He didn't read it that way. He said, "Well, it looks like it looks like he just didn't finish this panel." And the comics are like a joke, right? The moment you have to start explaining what you're trying to do, you know that you failed in communicating your message. You shouldn't have to stand there explaining your art to somebody. It should be evident on the page. And that's kind of like basic rule of thumb stuff, you know? You're not always going to be there to speak for your work. I have really grown to love the darker pencil tool in Clip Studio. It just, for my rough stuff and even for some more finished stuff, just kind of level of control that it gives me over shading and just kind of the variations in texture that you get from kind of throwing those layers. I really like the way it looks. It feels good to use, you know? So we're just going through and kind of spotting the blacks of all the areas on Doflamingo here. And this is a scenario where we are going to do the SFX and the lettering. It's kind of because of how important they are in the piece. I will do the English version. Someday I would love to do a manga panel where I do the manga panel. I live in Connecticut. I really want to say manga. I feel like I don't have much of an accent, but I feel like everybody feels like they don't have much of an accent. Alright, hey. I like the way this is shaping up. I hope you do too. We'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. Kind of gotten over my jitters about the face and the head. I'm sure I'll fiddle more with it later, but it's solid enough for me for the moment. Next time, we're going to keep plugging at this, and then we will shift over, of course, to inking. No coloring on this one, but we might do some tone. We'll see how it goes. You know, with the Tomie one, I wanted to kind of really focus on the techniques that Ito is using. And maybe I should be thinking in the same way for this Oda drawing. There's a lot going on in the background that we're going to want to learn about. Because again, the whole reason we're doing these kinds of painting videos is to learn techniques. So I hope you enjoyed today's, and I'll see you tomorrow. Stick around for the plug. Thanks.